A couple of years ago, I went through the season and it's still going on. I keep coming across 111. The number's 111, and I've come across it, I don't know, maybe 15,000 times. It's just like, it just always... I looked at my Facebook this afternoon and there was 111 likes on something. It's just like, I see 111 all the time. When I finished shooting at the range today, I pulled out my phone to see what time it was, and it was 11:11. It was just like, I mean, it just keeps on coming up. It's like 111, 111, 111. And it's like, God, I know. How many of you know that English is not God's first language? Well, Americans not anyway. It's New Zealand. He speaks in numbers, and he speaks in colours, and he speaks in all sorts of different ways, and we tend to think that sometimes that English is his first language. And it's not. And sometimes those things come into our lives where we know that it's the Lord speaking, but it's like, God, what are you saying? And it got to that point where I'd seen all these 111s, and it's beginning to freak me out. I mean, I'm just seeing thousands of them. I was just in Berlin a couple of months ago, and I pulled out of old West Berlin to head back to the east. I wanted to go and see where the wall was and stuff like that. And we pull onto the freeway, and it says, Charlotte. It's my daughter's name. Freeway 111. And it's like, God, you know, like, now I know what it is, and I knew what it is when I saw that. But I went through this season of like, God, what are you trying to say? And I'm looking up 111s in the Bible, and I can't find anything. And I flew into Denver, and I drove. I had a conference in North Platte, Nebraska, and I left North Platte, Nebraska. Obviously, I found this out when I landed, but I didn't realize it was 5 hours drive from Denver to North Platte. I never go anywhere now without asking the pastor how far it is to the hotel to the airport. When I'm finished, I just want to get home. So I booked a 6 a.m. flight out of Denver. Finished the meeting at 11. Stopped at the hotel for about half an hour's sleep, and he picked me up and drive me the whole way. And I'm sitting in the car driving to Denver, and I'm so tired. He's driving, and I'm sitting in the front. And I start to get the nods. You know, when you're like, you know, it's worse when you dribble as well. I was on a bus one day. This is almost embarrassing to tell you. And it was a cold winter's day in New Zealand, and I'd get on the bus, I'd push everybody out of the way because I wanted to get to the back of the bus to sit on the engine. So I could keep warm on a winter's day. And I bolt to the back of the bus, and I got to my seat, you know, and just cozy and warm, and I just drift off to sleep for the 1 hour ride home. And the bus was packed. I mean, there were people holding on. It was like, it was just absolutely packed. And I got to and suddenly I woke up, and the bus was in the station at the end of the run. Everybody was off, and the bus driver was sitting there watching me in the mirror. And I was so Anyway, so I'm in the car driving to Denver, and I start to get the knots. And I layered forward, and I smashed my head on the dashboard, and I went flying back and hit the back of the seat. And the pastor just kind of laughs at me, and I'm wide awake, you know, like, wow. And I look out the window. This is when I didn't know what 111 meant. I look out the window, and the roadside marker for how many miles to Denver said 111. And it's like, oh God, like, you're just teasing me. You gave me a sore head while you did it. And I left Denver, I landed in Sacramento, I turned my cell phone on as soon as I landed, and as soon as it booted up, time on the screen, 111. It was 11 minutes past 1, and so I had enough. You've got to speak. How many of you know that he hides things for us? He hides them for us to find. If he just told us everything, it would be a bit of a boring life, you know. He hides things for us so we can research them out and find them. So I'm starting to study, like, what? This is 111. What, God, what are you trying to say to me? And finally, he leads me to I don't know why I didn't find this. I don't know why I found every other passage except this one. And I feel like he bopped me on the head and said, "You're so dense." He wouldn't say that to me. But. And he says, "Go at least, I'll give you a clue, go start looking in Mark." I'm like, "Oh, Mark 1:1:1, I wonder what that says." And I look it up and it says, "And a voice came from heaven and said, 'Behold, you are my beloved Son, in whom I'm well pleased.'" And every time I see 1:1:1, I remind myself that I'm the beloved Son of God, in whom He's well pleased. That I don't need to do anything to please Him. He's already pleased with me. And I recalibrate myself to align myself into how much the Father loves me. And if we could just have a greater sense tonight that the Father loves you for who you are. He loves you for what you've done. We think, "Well, I'm not worthy to be healed." Slap that spirit stupid right off. Now, that's exactly what it is, spirit stupid. He loves you for who you are. He loves you as you are. And He wants to heal you where you are. Because that is the heart